You're listening to The Okanagan Reader, where we present readings of short stories and other works that have been released under a Creative Commons license by their creators. You are free to listen to and share these readings as set out in their version of the Creative Commons license. Today's reading is The Baum Plan for Financial Independence, Part 2, written by John Kessel and narrated by Jim Bowering. And now, The Baum Plan for Financial Independence, Part 2. I found her in the bedroom, rifling through a chest of drawers, throwing clothes on the bed. I opened the closet. Inside hung a bunch of jackets and flannel shirts and blue jeans, with a pair of riding boots and some sandals lined up neatly on the floor. I pushed the hanging clothes apart, and there, set into the back wall, was a door. "Dot, bring that flashlight over here." She came over and shined the flashlight into the closet. I ran my hand over the seam of the door. It was about 3 feet high, flush with the wall, the same off-white color, but cool to the touch, made of metal. No visible hinges and no lock, just a flip-up handle like on a tackle box. "That's not a safe," Dot said. "No shit, Sherlock." She shouldered past me, crouched down, and flipped up the handle. The door pushed open onto darkness. She shined the flashlight ahead of her. I could not see past her. "Jesus Christ Almighty," she said. "What?" "Stairs." Dot moved forward, then stepped down. I pushed the clothes aside and followed her. The carpet on the floor stopped at the door jamb. Inside was a concrete floor, and then a narrow flight of stairs leading down. A black metal handrail ran down the right side. The walls were of roughed concrete, unpainted. Dot moved ahead of me down to the bottom, where she stopped. When I got there, I saw why. The stairs led out into a large, dark room. The floor ended halfway across it, and beyond that, on either side, to the left and right, under the arching roof, were open tunnels. From one tunnel opening to the other ran a pair of gleaming rails. We were standing on a subway platform. Dot walked to the end of the platform and shined the flashlight up the tunnel. The rails gleamed away into the distance. "This doesn't look like a safe," I said. "Maybe it's a bomb shelter," Dot said. Before I could figure out a polite way to laugh at her, I noticed a light growing from the tunnel. A slight breeze kicked up. The light grew like an approaching headlight, and with a hum in the air. I backed toward the stairs, but Dot just peered down the tunnel. "Dot," I called. She waved a hand at me, and though she dropped back a step, she kept watching. Out of the tunnel glided a car that slid to a stop in front of us. It was no bigger than a pickup, teardrop-shaped, made of gleaming silver metal. Its bright single light glared down the track. The car had no windows, but as we stood gaping at it, a door slid open in its side. The inside was dimly lit with plush red seats. Dot stepped forward and stuck her head inside. "What are you doing?" I asked. "It's empty," Dot said. "No driver. Come on." "Get serious." Dot crouched and got inside. She turned and ducked her head to look at me out of the low doorway. "Don't be a pussy, Sid." "Don't be crazy, Dot. We don't even know what this thing is." "Ain't you ever been out of Mayberry? It's a subway." "But who built it? Where does it go? And what the hell is it doing in Jackson County?" "How should I know? Maybe we can find out." The car just sat there. The air was still. The ruby light from behind her cast Dot's face in shadow. I followed her into the car. "I don't know about this." "Relax." There were 2 bench seats, each wide enough to hold 2 people, and just enough space on the door side to move from one to the other. Dot sat on one of the seats with her big purse in her lap, calm as a Christian holding 4 aces. I sat down next to her. As soon as I did, the door slid shut and the car began to move, picking up speed smoothly, pushing us back into the firm upholstery. The only sound was a gradually increasing hum that reached a middle pitch and stayed there. I tried to breathe. There was no clack from the rails, no vibration. In front of us the car narrowed to a bullet-nosed front, and in the heart of that nose was a circular window. Through the window I saw only blackness. After a while I wondered if we were still moving, until a light appeared ahead. First a small speck, then grew brighter and larger until it slipped off past us to the side at a speed that told me the little car was moving faster than I cared to figure. "These people who own the house," I asked Dot, "where on Mars did you say they came from?" Dot reached in her purse and took out a pistol, set it down on her lap, and fumbled around in the bag until she pulled out a pack of juicy fruit. She pulled out a stick, then held the pack out to me. "Gum? No, thanks." She put the pack back in the purse, and the pistol too. She slipped the yellow paper sleeve off her gum, unwrapped the foil, and stuck the gum in her mouth. After refolding the foil neatly, she slid it back into the gum sleeve and set the now empty stick on the back of the seat in front of us. I was about to scream. "Where the fuck are we going, Dot? What's going on here?" "I don't have any idea where we're going, Sid. If I knew you were going to be such a wuss, I would never have called you." "Did you know about any of this?" "Of course not." "But we're going to be somewhere soon, I bet." I got off the seat and moved to the front bench, my back to her. That didn't set my nerves any easier. I could hear her chewing her gum and felt her eyes on the back of my neck. The car sped into blackness, broken only by the occasional spear of light flashing past. As we did not seem to be getting anywhere real soon, I had some time to contemplate the ways in which I was a fool, the number one being the way I let an ex-lap dancer from Mabane lead me around by my imagination for the last 10 years. Just when I thought I couldn't get any more pissed, Dot moved up from the back seat, sat down next to me, and took my hand. "I'm sorry, Sid. Someday I'll make it up to you." "Yeah?" I said. "So give me some of that gum." She gave me a stick. Her tidy gum wrapper had fallen onto the seat between us. I crumpled the wrapper of my own next to hers. I had not started in on chewing when the hum of the car lowered and I felt a slowing down. The front window got a little lighter and the car came to a stop. The door slid open. The platform it opened onto was better lit than the one under the house in Blue Ridge. Standing on it, waiting, were 3 people, 2 men and a woman. The 2 men wore identical dark suits of the kind bankers with too much money wore in downtown Charlotte. The suits hung the way no piece of clothing had ever hung on me, tailored closer than a mother's kiss. The woman, slender, with blonde hair done up tight as a librarian's, yet there was no touch of the librarian about her, wore a dark blue dress. They stood there for a moment. Then one of the men said, "Excuse me, you're here. Are you getting out?" Dot got up and nudged me, and I finally got my nerveless legs to work. We stepped out onto the platform, and the 3 people got into the car. The door slid shut, and it glided off into the darkness. It was cold on the platform, and a light breeze came from an archway across from us. Instead of rough concrete like the tunnel under the house, here the ceiling and walls were smooth stucco. Carved above the arch was a crouching man wearing some kind of Roman or Greek toga, cradling a book under one arm and holding a torch in the other. He had a wide brow and a long straight nose and looked like a guard in Central named Piskarchewicz, only a lot smarter. Golden light filtered down from fixtures like frogs' eggs in the ceiling. "What now?" I asked. Dot headed for the archway. "What have we got to lose?" Past the arch, a ramp ran upwards, switchbacking every 40 feet or so. A couple of women, as well dressed as the one we'd seen on the platform, passed us going the other way. We tried to look like we belonged there, though Dot's hair was a rat's nest, I was dressed in jeans and sneakers, I had not shaved since morning, and my breath smelled of scotch and juicy fruit. At the top of the third switchback, the light brightened. From ahead of us came the sound of voices, echoing as if in a very large room. We reached the final archway, the door leveled off, and we stepped into the hall. I did not think there were so many shades of marble. The place was as big as a train station, a great open room with polished stone floors, a domed ceiling 100 feet above us, a dozen Greek half-columns set into the far wall. Bright sun, shining through tall windows between them, fell on baskets of flowers and huge potted palms. Around the hall stood a number of booths like information kiosks, and grilled counters like an old-fashioned bank, at which polite staff in pale green shirts dealt with the customers. But it was not all business. Mixed among the people carrying briefcases stood others in groups of 3 or 4 holding pale drinks in tall glasses, or leaning casually on some counter chatting one-on-one with those manning the booths. In one corner, a man in a green suit played jazz on a grand piano.